Hi, I'm Thorn Bishop and welcome to Top Secret Inc. Today, we'll be walking through Grimm Fairy Tales presents Alice in Wonderland Issue 4 by Zenescope Comics. So get comfortable, it's going to be one hell of a ride.
Issue 4 starts with Alice running through the woods, kind of like issue 2 and 3. Passing all those trees with nonsensical signage we saw before. You can tell by the way she looks, she's absolutely tripping balls. Hallucinating demons and people with mouths and jaws of the Jabberwocky, not to mention mirror images of herself being attacked by multiple people's arms. That sleep mushroom powder is really doing a number on her psyche. We cut now to a new scene in the courtyard of the Queen of Hearts' inner castle, where there's 3 beautiful women in the courtyard at the garden about to plant some roses. They're arguing with each other about what type of roses to plant because apparently everyone knows in Wonderland the consequences of planting incorrect flowers in the royal garden. Off with their heads. It's like an extreme garden where the stakes are literally life and death. Then we get the first John Cena moment of the issue. Alice comes crashing through some 8-foot hedges, almost tackles all of the 3 girls. You can tell Alice is still a little stoned because she's got that look in her eyes and stares at one of the women, says, "Hey, you're pretty," and then immediately collapses to the ground. Like, really smooth, this girl. Alice then awakens in what appears to be a dream sequence. She's in her old bedroom back in reality. She's a younger version of herself crying on a bed. Young Alice starts blaming older Alice for all of her problems, telling her she doesn't understand the situation and that she's only a part of the puzzle. She's not seeing the whole picture here. And this is getting really deep. Like, little Alice explains that big Alice made a bad deal with the Jabberwocky. When little Alice returned through the looking glass, part of her soul was actually joined with the Jabberwocky. The longer his soul remains in reality, the easier it'll be for the Jabberwocky to escape Wonderland. What's even worse is that this is hereditary. Any children of Alice in the future will also carry the same fate of sharing their soul with the Jabberwocky. Talk about a generational curse that makes family dysfunction look like a minor inconvenience here. Alice wakes up from this nightmare naked in a beautiful bed in the palace, surrounded by the 3 women from the garden. Then she meets the Queen of Hearts, who reaches out her hand to Alice. Alice, slightly embarrassed by her nude situation, tries to stay covered with the bedsheets. The Queen orders the servant to get Alice's clothes and to tell her she's very excited to meet her and looking forward to showing her her world, because nothing says hospitality like waking up naked in a stranger's bed, right? The Queen takes Alice for a stroll, and the Queen of Hearts' kingdom is the most beautiful place Alice has ever seen. Everything is peaceful. Everyone looks happy. This place seems to be perfect. Too perfect, if you ask me. But Alice hasn't learned to be properly suspicious yet. The Queen tells Alice she's aware of her situation with the Jabberwocky and doesn't intend to return her to him. She also mentions Alice doesn't need to fear the Cheshire Cat because he would never intentionally step foot into the Kingdom of Hearts. I mean, that's reassuring, considering the cat's recent track record with dismemberments. The Queen consistently offers Alice to play croquet with her. Alice declines each time since she doesn't know the game, so the Queen orders one of her subjects to play against her instead. But instead of mouse, they're using these pink flamingos, because apparently normal sporting equipment isn't too mainstream in Wonderland. The prize? Well, if the contestant wins, they're set free. And guess what? The contestant wins and starts jumping up and down with glee. He's won his freedom from servitude. What he doesn't understand is that the Queen plans on freeing him from his life. She grabs a double-sided battle axe from one of the guards, raises it overhead, and decapitates him in front of everyone. Because the Queen's definition of freedom is apparently quite literal. Alice starts freaking out because that's just dirty pool here. He should have been set free to leave the kingdom. The Queen walks over with a big grin on her face, carrying the battle axe, covered head to toe in blood, asking Alice, "What, you didn't like the game?" Alice responds that he won fair and square and the Queen should honor the prize. And the Queen's like, "But, I did. I removed him from his shackles." Technically, she's kind of correct about that. The Queen decides she doesn't like it when people talk back to her, so she calls the guards to have Alice taken away to stand trial for the crime of talking back at a later date, because apparently having opinions is illegal in the Kingdom of Hearts. We jump now to the courtroom where Alice is sitting in the witness box. The Queen is sitting in the judge's throne. Honestly, this doesn't seem like it's going to go very well for Alice at this point. The defense is a little boy wearing a crown. At some point during the trial, the queen calls him my king, which is weird because the king doesn't look like he hit puberty yet. To make a long story short, the queen finds Alice guilty, and instead of off with her head, she taps Alice on the forehead with her finger, and Alice then suddenly breaks apart into 100 little puzzle pieces. The queen leans over the witness chair and starts rummaging through the pieces of Alice, saying, "Next time, you should learn to keep your mouth shut, little girl." Because apparently even in puzzle form, Alice needs to learn royal etiquette. At this point, Alice is falling through the ceiling through a black shadowy circle. She lands flat on her ass and is confronted by a black shadowy tar-like form. She's unaware that this is the Queen of Spades. That shadow tells Alice, "I want to help you fulfill your destiny." The shadow then fully transforms into an absolutely gorgeous woman wearing a black crown. She looks down at Alice and tells her, "I'm here to help you kill the Jabberwocky." I hope you enjoyed the walkthrough today, but here's the thing. You need to get your hands on the actual book. Hit up your local comic shop or grab it from an online vendor. Support these comic book companies because they're the real people busting their asses writing these insane stories. Even though you're hearing about it from me, when you actually read it yourself, I guarantee you'll have a completely different perspective on the whole thing. Trust me, it hits different on paper.